Network.
Ward, a three-time 20-goal scorer, goes to the net, right down the slot. It's Vince Dunn, and he scores. Going back to last season, Pasternak. Now it's 61 goals in his last 83 games as his one-timer finds the back of the net. Through center and on the go. Metzger has it in neutral towards the empty cage. He scores again. Alex Ovechkin going closer to 800. Who's the draw? Now it's a 3-on-2 for the Stars. Lindell carries up across ice. Landry, and they score! Glendening went to the net, redirects it. A short-handed goal makes it 4-1 Dallas. That will not make the coach happy.
What the puck is going on?
This is What the Puck is going on for a Wednesday, February the 15th, 2023. Okay, weird slate of games for tonight. We got a six-pack. We'll go over here in a second. A couple teams on back-to-backs. It's always worth notes to see what we have on the injury list. And when we get to the games, injuries first, but then when we get to the games, you'll see that we have some crazy lines on some of these games tonight. So we'll take a look at all that here in a second. The injury list continues to pile up. Wednesday, this is insane. I did not even really look at this too much yet. The Ducks, they put 5 players on the injury list, or at least list 4 new players on the injury list. The Blackhawks, they list a couple new players on the injury list. Colorado does as well. Some of these players today on the injury list are just updated from previous times. So some players that we know that we know that have been hurt, like a Jack Hughes from New Jersey. He is still day-to-day. Ryan Murray is going to be out sometime now for Edmonton. It looks like a couple more weeks. Cal McCarr should be coming back pretty soon for Colorado, as well as Eric Johnson. He's going to be out a little bit longer. Jonathan Toews is now day-to-day for the Blackhawks. Let's see. Rasmus Anderson, day-to-day for Calgary. A few others to kind of look over. Matt Murray for Toronto, out for another week or so anyway. Jack Studnicka, illness. He's going to be out tonight for the game against the Rangers. So go ahead and get your injury list online if you need to. Go ahead and Google NHL players out tonight, and then you'll get a good website popping up that gives you everything that is pretty much updated to the moment in time. They have that as well for the NBA on there. NBA players out tonight if you need to look at some of that stuff. All right, so let me go ahead and get my numbers out here, and we'll go ahead and we'll start talking about these games. And when I say a weird slate, it is definitely a weird slate in the sense also that we only have one game early and everything else is going to start later on tonight. See the ticker below for all the current odds and face-off times. So with the 7 p.m. game tonight, and then we have one at 9 p.m., a couple games at 9:30, and then a couple of games at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. All right, the first game on the slate tonight are the Blackhawks at the Maple Leafs. This is a 7 p.m. Puck drop. The Blackhawks coming off a 4-0 loss at Montreal, a very banged-up Montreal team. The Blackhawks having a rough go of it here lately, and they are at Toronto as they cross the border tonight. Now, if you want Toronto, you got to lay -2.5 goals just to get -120 tonight. The money line is maybe the biggest I've ever seen. It is -610 for the Toronto Maple Leafs with the comeback of +440 for the Chicago Blackhawks. You never used to see this in hockey. Teams were never this bad before. But here we are with a -610 favorite. I'm not so sure I've ever seen that, to be honest. There have been instances of some really high numbers here in the last couple of years, but this one really takes the cake. Toronto, third place. We haven't talked about them too much in detail this week since they haven't been on our slate, but they're going to be well rested tonight. Let's see. They've scored 181 goals. They've given up 145, so a 136, and in good form too, 6-3-1 overall. Chicago 4-5-1, losers of 2 in a row, but just 4-5-1 in their last 10. So a little bit better as of late, I guess. Not really. They've lost 2 in a row, so you can't say that now. But they are minus 65 on their goal differential. They've scored 125 goals only, which is the fewest in the league. And when I say the fewest, it's not even close. Anaheim, who is second on that list, has 135. Now, the Blackhawks have given up 190 goals, which isn't exactly the worst in the league, but it's pretty much up there. It's going to be top, looks like about top 5 or 6 or 7 in that stat. Yeah, so top 6 for Chicago as in terms of giving up goals. So the Blackhawks in a tough spot after losing 4-0 last night. So obviously you're going to want Toronto on some kind of angle, but this is the time when, Toronto just wins the game 4-3, something like that. Just Toronto's 60-minute goals. Let's see if it's over 4.5. It may be. It is over 4.5 Toronto goals for team goals is plus 114. Chicago over 1.5 goals is minus 180. So they're not expecting anything in terms of that. Mrazek is the only listed goalie that we see here, and that's for the Blackhawks. Let's see here. Anything else on this game? I don't know. It's just a stay away. You can think of any kind of way you want to take Toronto. I'm not interested in laying just to get straight juice for a Toronto blowout. So we'll go ahead and pass on that game. Nephew Dave may have something to say about that. We'll get his picks on here in a bit. Tampa Bay is at Arizona. This is a 9:00 face-off, and the Coyotes are plus 198, somewhere in there, that range, 195, 200, 198. Dogs at home, and the Lightning are laying minus 245 on the road after their shutout win last night. I'm sorry, not shutout. Shootout win last night in Colorado. Over under 6.5 for this game. So you would look at this game at Lightning or bust, I would think. Nephew Dave had Arizona goals the other night, and that worked out for him. Just over 2.5. Yeah, that might actually be a decent angle. Let's see who the goalies are. 2.5 goals at minus 108. We do have Brian Elliott and Connor Ingram listed as the goalies. So Vasilevsky is out. A chance for Arizona maybe to get 3 goals at a straight shot on the juice coming off the Lightning's back-to-back game at Colorado. So I think that's a good angle. I wouldn't be interested in trying to see Tampa Bay put up the goals either. I think really it's just Arizona or bust in this scenario. Tampa coming off, like we said, the long game last night, shootout style in Colorado, and then traveling down to Arizona overnight. Over 3.5 is the team goals for the Lightning. As far as the injuries go, let's see if they've listed anyone new. Make sure I didn't skip over anything with that. Oh, I'm still on the daily reports. Let me get to the team reports. The team reports. Let's see here. Sorry for the delay. Making sure we have good audio here too. Let me check that real quick. We had a little computer reboot, so I may be starting this show all over. Nope, looks like we're in good shape. Okay. Goals by team here. So Tampa Bay. Get your act together, Steve. And Arizona. Tampa Bay is going to come in healthy. No injuries to report at all for the Lightning. So that's good news for them. Arizona, meanwhile, has 4 players injured. Shane Gostisbehere is just listed on the injury report today. He'll just miss this game, maybe one more. A couple other players banged up as well. But, Arizona, just to get the 3 goals at a minus 105 number, if that's something like that, minus 105, then I think that's worth a shot at least. Good game in Minnesota with Colorado and the Avalanche. The Avalanche, we mentioned, lost last night to Tampa Bay in overtime with the shootout. The Wild lose to the Panthers in overtime the other night as well. So both of these teams coming off tough losses. The Wild are short favorites at home, minus 128. So a good Central Division matchup here. Over under is 6. And still with the Colorado injuries and Minnesota, I think relatively healthy. I think if I can recall that from the other night, unless that's changed. Yep, just one player for Minnesota on the injured list. And let's see where they stand right here. This is going to be an important game for the third and fourth place team in the Central. Both teams have 61 points. That's going to be key for the playoffs and positioning, because 61 is on the fringe of not being in the playoffs. So this is a big game tonight in Minnesota. Minnesota 16-9-2 at home. The Avalanche 15-10-1 on the road. A plus 13 for Colorado on their point differential, and plus 5 for the Minnesota Wild. Both teams have scored about average amount of goals, 160 for Colorado, 159 for Minnesota. They've given up about the same, not that much of a difference, 147 for Colorado and 154 for Minnesota. So this is a toss-up game the way that I see it. I mean, you can flip a coin on this one. I don't think I'll have any kind of official play on this, but a good Central Division matchup if you guys want to take a look at it. And I'll get that Nephew Dave's plays when we finish the menu here in a second. The Sabres are at the Ducks tonight. Over under 7, another weird line that we talked about. Minus 215 for Buffalo Sabres at Anaheim. So 7 goals for the Sabres. I think their 60-minute puck line must be 4.5, right? It has to be. Just over 3.5 at minus 138. So the Ducks is over 2.5 at minus 134. Interesting numbers, because if you add all that up, 3.5 and 2.5, that just gets you the 6. But 4-3 gets you a win there, where it gets you a push on a normal line. Obviously, it's juiced difference. That's juiced different. That's going to be the difference there. But I would fully expect Buffalo to win this game. Buffalo goals on the road over 3.5 at minus 138. That looks good enough for me to take. And Buffalo did not start off their West Coast trip well, losing to the LA Kings the other night. No goalies listed as of right now for either one of these teams. Wow. All right, so we'll see how that develops. Sabres and the Ducks. Sabres, the big favorite in Anaheim on the pond. All right, in Vancouver, the Canucks, they've been a mess all year. They host the Rangers. We talked about Vancouver being one of the higher scoring teams in the league as far as over-unders go. They give up a ton of goals, and they have a ton of injuries as well. So this is not going to be a good spot for the Canucks against the Rangers. The Rangers are healthy. They report 0 injuries. So that's going to be a good deal for them. Let's see here. What else on this game? Rangers third in their division, plus 37 on the goal differential. 178 they've scored. They've given up 141. 15-5-4 are the Rangers on the road. We talked about Vancouver giving up a ton of goals. They've given up 218 while scoring 181. That's a minus 37 goal differential. And that is just second only to the poorest defense of the Anaheim Ducks, who have allowed 223 goals on net, while only scoring 135, right? Buffalo, did we talk about them as far as scoring? We know they score decent amount of goals. Just rewinding to the last game. Yeah, 190 goals scored for Buffalo. So bad matchups there, I think, for the Ducks and the Canucks. To be honest, you could take the all-New York parlay on that if you wanted to. Goal props for the Rangers will look like this. Let's see here. 60-minute goals for the Rangers will be over 3.5 is minus 128. So I think that's a good price and a good route to take tonight against Vancouver, who gives up a ton of goals. Shesterkin is the listed goalie for the New York Rangers, and Arturs Silovs the goalie for the Vancouver Canucks. We'll take a quick look at the futures since we breeze right through that. Let's see. Let's see if we've seen anything crazy pop up here. Conference and the division winners. Boston is still plus 300 to win the East. Carolina is at plus 420. Devils getting a good number of plus 700 still. They did win last night. We thought they might win a little bit bigger at Columbus, but 4-3 is good enough for the victory. That's all they're going to care about. Plus 750 for the Rangers to win the East is still a good number, I think, for the New York Rangers. Capitals down to 21-1. Penguins 14-1. Islanders 31-1. Lightning plus 650. In the Western Conference, the Avalanche on the fringe of the playoffs, right? We talked about it. Plus 310 are your favorites to win the West still. So although the Avalanche have been flirting with, because of their injuries, flirting with really not making the playoffs at this point is what you can say. They still are the favorite to win the Western Conference. So that is interesting. The Jets still getting paid nicely at plus 950 to win the West, considering they're right up there at the top of the Central. Dallas is at plus 550. Minnesota, we talked about them today at plus 900. Calgary up to plus 750. Vegas plus 600. And Edmonton plus 550. A nice price on the Oilers still right now for them. Rangers-Oilers matchup would be something that could happen, I think. A $25 parlay right now for those two teams to meet in the final will pay $1,350. In the divisions, Boston is still the huge favorite. Carolina, nice hefty favorite, minus 290, although that has come back some with the Devils, now just plus 280. They're closer to $4 earlier in the week. The Stars minus 145, a nice size favorite now. Winnipeg's numbers have dropped significantly. They're just plus 250. And you get the Colorado at 5-1 odds to win their division and plus 310 to win the Western Conference. Wow. That's just crazy. The Wild plus 1,200. Yeah, let me repeat that. Better odds for Colorado to win their division at plus 500 than to win the West at plus 310. Golden Knights still your short shot favorite at plus 200 in the Pacific. Edmonton plus 250. Kraken plus 330. Kings plus 450. Flames a nice price at plus 900 still. All right. Let's get Nephew Dave's picks. I'll go ahead and reload this up. For the games tonight. Let's see. Nephew Dave. He's going to take the Leafs in the first period and the money line combo. So that's going to be something that's interesting. Let's see what that pays out. First period, Toronto Maple Leafs. He wants the three-way, right? Oh, no. So it'll be minus a puck, minus 132. That's not too bad. If you like the Leafs just to win by 1-0 or 2-0 in the first period, minus 132 is your number. That's a lot better than that big line. And then let's see, he wants them for the game too. I'm just interested in this payout. He must be getting some kind of crazy parlay number. So he's going to hook minus 132 to minus 610 in the same game parlay with the Leafs. My book's not letting me do that. Yeah, obviously some of the books will. The Sabres on the money line is what Nephew Dave likes as well. So he'll take the Sabres at minus 215. And then the Rangers puck line minus 1.5 plus 124. So he's going to go with that Buffalo New York parlay that we just talked about with the Sabres and the Rangers, and he'll lean on the Leafs as well. I'll take a shot with Arizona over 2.5 goals at small juice, minus 105, something like that. We skipped right over a game, didn't we? Edmonton and Detroit. Edmonton and Detroit is at 9:30. Edmonton minus 240. 6.5 is the over-under there. Come back on the Red Wings is plus 195. Red Wings, nice win the other night. Edmonton has been playing much, much better. We'll look at the injuries real quick. I did skip the Cowboys-Redskins game when we were in Green Bay on the round robin, which was kind of funny. That's like a important game for everyone here on the East Coast. But you get too carried away sometimes. Edmonton, we talked about Ryan Murray being hurt. They have a couple other players just updated on the injured list as well. Most of these are shorter injuries where they will be expected to be back later this month. Detroit is going to be relatively healthy as well. They've just updated 2 players on their injury list on Monday, on Tuesday, on Valentine's Day. So they'll miss a couple players short term for Detroit. So they're relatively healthy. I just don't think I have a play on this. If I take anything, it's going to be Edmonton Oiler goals and over 3.5 at minus 145. I guess that's a fair number. I think you can probably take that against Detroit. Just trusting Edmonton to score goals at home, right? So we'll throw that in the play. And if I'm going to build a parlay, I'm going to keep Nephew Dave's minus half a puck in the first period. I'll go ahead and take 60-minute margin with the Rangers. Let's see, minus 128. And I'll go over this ticket in 1 second as I construct it. And 60 minutes for the Sabres. Okay, I think I like this parlay. It pays 8-1. The Leafs minus 0.5 in the first period, minus 132. Edmonton over 3.5 team goals at minus 144. The Rangers 60-minute money line, minus 128 at Vancouver. Sabres minus 136 on the 60-minute money line at Anaheim. And then we'll throw in Arizona team goals as well. And Arizona team goals over 2.5 at minus 108. So this is not a bad play here. 5 picks, Leafs minus 0.5 in the first period. Over 3.5 goals for Edmonton and Detroit. Rangers 60-minute money line. Sabres 60-minute money line. Over 2.5 for Arizona goals. All right, we'll be back tomorrow night, a 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time edition on Thursday for What the Puck is Going On. So, everyone, good luck on your tickets and have a good night.